So there's about out of gas.
It's got about a ½ inch.
Okay.
The fuel tank is empty, but as you saw in the previous episode, the bilge was not. Up to now, the job has been to assess what's missing, things that don't work, and clean out the bilge so it will drain and be a more comfortable place to work. To date, the motor's stuck, steering has excessive resistance, seat frames need rebuilding, and fuel tank stays are loose. The good news is the hull and windscreen is sound, the wiring looks original, and nothing's been robbed off the engine. The next thing to do is figure out what's wrong with the rudder assembly and/or the steering linkage. The plan is to take a good look at the rudder assembly, how it comes apart, does it need to come apart, and then decide if the fuel tank needs to come out.
Kenny, are you back there?
Yes,
Can you wiggle the rudder?
I just did.
Do it again.
It's really tight.
It's hard to see, but the rudder
more
shaft
time.
and gland nut appear to be shifting from side to side. The gland isn't tight, so I'm pretty certain water will have no trouble getting in. The gland will need to come off so I can check the packing. Here's how the rudder's installed. There's a gland nut and packing, a locking nut which isn't engaged, the upper rudder shaft locking collar with safety wire. My guess is that this collar is on there to keep the rudder from falling out if a guy is attempting to repack the gland with the boat in the water. May explain why the nut is loose and is telling me I need to take this all apart to see what's going on. The tank supports appear to be original or in surprisingly good condition. If I was 30 and had 2 good knees, I'd probably leave them and the tank in. However, I'm not 30 and it's not easy getting in, down, and under. So the tank is coming out and I'll fix the rudder from a sitting position. Before getting too far into the rebuild, let me put in a plug for a program at Michigan Technological University you may be interested in. It took a while, but after retiring, I returned to college and earned a master's degree in industrial archaeology. We study things related to the Industrial Revolution and the material culture of industrial societies. So if you're interested in steam engines, blast furnaces, making pottery, or anything industrial, you may want to check it out. I'll put a link below. Throughout this project, I'll be using some of those principles to document what I find, preserve integrity when possible, and repair or replace what are necessary. Apparently the fuel tank was A, installed before the deck was attached to the hull, or B, was held in suspension while the supports were installed and then lowered onto them. I'm going with option A. It was put in before the deck. If you have an opinion, I'd like to know what you think. The site survey determined a problem with removing the tank. It's 15 inches in diameter, and the opening between the deck and the supports is 11 inches. So I can either support the tank, unbolt and remove the supports and then drop the tank, or remove part of the supports and roll the tank out. Since they'll be replaced anyway, I'm going to keep it simple and relieve the supports. Clearing the supports wasn't pretty, but it was easy.
So there's about out of gas.
It's got about a ½ inch.
Okay. So the filler neck is a galvanized nipple, and we're going to take it out here in just a moment. Alright, so that's out of there.
Okay, well, now we're looking at seal. You see where the seal is?
Yeah.
So this is what we want to do. We want to put that back.
It's kind of a rubberized. It's
No, it's the same stuff.
Is
It's
that Teflon?
Yeah, it's Teflon.
So now we've got the access to the flared fitting here for the gas line. There's a valve. I don't know that it's going to work. We'll get that out. So I'm going to take this, I'll get a wrench and take this line off. Had a ground wire to bring loose. Got the fuel line loose. We'll get to the electronics there in just a second. And now I'm taking the I suppose this is a vent hose. Oh, that clamp was loose. Now I gotta have two hands for this.
With the tank out of the way, I can see there's a blower, fuel tank vent hose attached to the through-hull fitting. The white flexible tubing must be the original bilge pump line, and the replacement line has been chewed off. All the better reason to have the tank out, clean up the wiring and the plumbing.
The bilge pump hose is kind of in the way, but I also noticed that at the end of it, something had like chewed the end off of it, so we're going to take it out and see where that goes and replace it. Okay, here we go. Take that clamp loose. Oh, it's loose already. Huh. Okay. Maybe be gentle there. There. Okay, we'll get that out of the way.
Each tank support is held in with 2 bronze carriage bolts, and surprisingly, the nuts came off easily.
Alright, now see if I can pull that bolt out of there. Ah, how about that? Yeah, that wasn't so bad. Alright, what do you think the chances are that bolt's gonna come out easy? If I can even reach in there. No, nothing like that. I'll see if I can pry any of that board off of there. Maybe it'll come off of that bolt. There it came. Because of the rise in the hull, I didn't think it was going to come off of there. Alright, let's see if we can get the whole thing out of there. And as feed core does it, add that one to the pile.
Next, I want to see how the rudder reacts to steering wheel input. The camera captured the gland turning with the rudder shaft.
Okay, so we're going to pull this bracket loose and see if it's the rudder or the cable. And I already checked this out because I had to make 2 trips to the house. The heads of the bolts are half, but the nuts on the back are 9/16. Alright, let's see if that's enough. Okay, well, there you go. Here's a better shot of it. Okay. Yeah, so rudder's free. Thank you. But of course the bad news is that there's a problem with the cable. So what we're up to now, this is the upper rudder shaft support, and this board that's holding all of it needs to come out of the way so we can pull the rudder arm loose to see what's going on with the gland. Brass screws here and over in there, but at least we can get to them now. So that's the next thing, and then we'll look at this bilge pump and see what we can do about getting it out. Now that I got down in here, I see that 2 of the screws are missing and the others are kind of misplaced, so we'll have to see what all this means. It's a good thing we're back in here. Here's another look around on it. Okay, let's see if we can loosen up these screws without them crank camming out. Oh, it's loose. It's not doing anything. What about this one? Ah, they're not doing anything. That's not good. Well, let's see what we've got going on here. No, they just come out. So what's going on with this? Okay, now we'll see if we can get these brass screws out here and take that plate loose. Okay, there's one of them. Let's see if this one will go. Oh, I think so far, yeah, they're gonna maybe come out. Okay, I got the other side of the screws out. I'll take these out. And then this rudder support. Yep. Let's see how we're going to get it over that. I got to move. There we go. Okay. And there's what we have. Everything seems to turn all right. Okay, I got a different wrench now. I can start taking this guy out. Feels like it's got a lock nut on it. There we go. Let's put these back like they came off. Okay. Alright, now we'll see if we can crack this loose. 9/16. Okay. We blocked underneath it with a block of wood. That bolt probably goes all the way through, so we'll take it out. Let's see if this will lift off now. There we go. That's that part of it. Now let's see what we got here. There we go. So now we can see if we want to replace that packing or what we want to do. The issue was that this was loose and the locking collar, which is still pretty tight, it's locked down there at the bottom. So we'll get out and clean it up and see what it looks like.
With full access to a clean stern, I can turn my attention to the elephant in the boat. You won't want to miss the next episode. It's time to deal with motors. It's also time to get out your personal flotation device to see if it still fits. Ahoy!